I honestly wish everyone could see. The webcam isn't on at the moment, and I wish everyone could see what was happening backstage, because this is amazing. Everybody, welcome to Barking at the Moon. Mika, woof woof.
Woof woof.
And woof, woof. Your beautiful, beautiful dog, Maliki. She is so gorgeous.
I love Matilda. Matilda's amazing.
She's been good, isn't she?
She's been very. Is she always this nice?
Yes, she's a lovely dog, and she's like a little. She's like a little porpoise. She keeps jumping up at you.
Yeah, she does bob up.
We don't know how you got Maliki in here, because it's taken us 3 years of emails getting our dogs in, and maybe because you're a star.
I know that you guys helped. We had, because I was doing this Radio 2 gig beforehand, and so the only way that I could actually do this show with you guys, with Mel, was if I actually, put her in the dressing room. I had someone come and inspect health and safety and the kind of the welfare of the dog. I got inspected. They knocked on the door, and I thought it was a joke at first, and then I realized, by everyone's faces, that it was quite serious. They were like, "Has she been walked?" I was like, "Yes." They were like, "Has she been fed?" I was like, "Yes." "Will she always be chaperoned by someone who knows how to deal with her?" I was like, "Yes." I was intending on putting her in the bathroom, just making her wait until I was done. I was like, she can handle herself.
I'm quite impressed by that.
Yeah, me too.
They really were careful. They were really careful. I was like, oh man, this is what it must have been like for those blue pizza dogs, the poor things.
Well, I think it was all quite strict as well for them. It's all to do with the Animal Welfare Act, you see.
Well, I think that's fair enough. It's kind of like, it's almost like the way that, when I started when I was 11 years old, and I actually did like a whole bunch of stuff like in opera and like in the West End and stuff like that, and I was really closely chaperoned by these professional children chaperones, and we used to really like some of them and hate some of them, because some of them were like wicked witches, and some of them were absolutely would give us whatever we wanted. It's a bit like that, but with dogs.
Yes. Tell us a bit about her, because of because you come from a large family. How many siblings do you have?
I have 4 siblings.
And did you have dogs in your family when you were young?
This is actually quite a contentious subject. No, I don't have dogs in my family ever, and I always wanted one. But in a way, I always had a lot of respect for dogs. And, I guess my mother refused to have dogs because she was like, dogs should be in the countryside. They shouldn't be in cities, because that's how she grew up. So the idea of having a dog in the city was completely heinous to her. And then there was the other side of it, because I come from a Lebanese family, and a lot of the people that hang out with us are Muslim and Arabs, and they have this real... at least some of our family friends had this division, dogs aren't allowed in the kitchen, they're not allowed in the living room, you're not allowed to touch them, like all these things. So there was a lot of reasons why, and this is not generally the case across kind of Muslims and stuff, but it was just the family friends that we had. And so there was a lot of reasons why it wasn't a good time. But when it came to the time, I became obsessed with just making sure I would do it right. Obsessed.
Yes, and I'm very like you, actually. Anna has had dogs in her life from a little girl.
Yeah, all my life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been blessed, really, for that.
Her dad was head of the RSPCA.
Yeah, he was when he retired of the Shropshire branch. So, I was aware of animal cruelty from an early age as well, which really made me prefer animals to people
and
from
Anna
a very young age.
She used to go around with her dad with a collection box for the RSPCA.
So
I
sweet.
know.
But it's funny. I always look at the RSPCA website, especially in the new year and stuff like that, and all the kind of increase in animals.
I know.
And there's this bizarre thing that happens, and I'm dying to one day have a house in the countryside so I can adopt them. But it's donkeys.
Oh, I know. Donkeys. They have such a raw deal. Oh,
it's horrible. People get these donkeys because they think it's cute, and then they just dump the donkeys in the garden, and they realize the donkeys are not the kind of animal you want in your garden unless you have a big garden. And
is Matilda snoring?
No, my dog's drinking.
That's one of my main things as well. I'd love to have a paddock and a couple of donkeys,
but not like Marie Antoinette. Do you know what she did? She used to have a fake farm, and it was all set up like theatre in Versailles, and it was all miniature cottages and stuff in the gardens of Versailles, and they would set up her props, so she would have her feed and her little outfit with her bonnets to pretend to be a peasant, and she would walk around Versailles going, sprinkling stuff with all her chambermaids and stuff, going, isn't this fabulous, we're farmers, and then they would go in and drink champagne and tea. And
we could do that in Islington. Please let us do that. hat
but
and
then
bonnet.
everyone might hate us and then stone us, which happened to Marie Antoinette. Yes.
Guillotine.
We'd make the Evening Standard, wouldn't we?
Oh, well, then it's worth it.
Anything for a bit of PR.
But the thing about dogs have come recently into my life, and I've become the archetypal middle-aged woman who's obsessed with her dogs. You know what I mean? So I've never had a maternal instinct ever, but I now have become quite maternal. I've actually started to know Matilda.
She's
to play.
awesome.
She wants to play.
I'm the dog nap.
But I also now, and I don't know whether you're like this, Mika, I now want a pack. Do you know what I mean? Because I think you see the true character of dogs when they're in a group. You get to sit like these two now are going to start to play.
They're going to start to play. And, Mel's so funny because she is, like you said before, she's very slender. She's a golden retriever, but she's quite reddish. Her hair's not that long, but she's all muscle because she's actually a gun dog. She's like a gun dog working, but she's not working because I don't want to introduce her into something that I don't do anything in the countryside like shooting and stuff like that. I go walking, but that's it. I'm worried that if I start training her to be a gun dog, then she's going to start to be programmed into that, and she'll be depressed if she doesn't do that. Does that make sense? I try to give her other challenges instead.
Exactly. So long as you're giving her other challenges and giving her the right amount of exercise that she needs, being a dog that does need a fair amount of exercise, contrary to our dogs that don't need as much exercise as Meliki, then you're absolutely fine. And you're fulfilling her needs even by throwing a ball because she's a retriever. So long as she's retrieving.
But I never throw the ball with that catch it thing.
Oh, you don't have to use one of those.
If I do, I'll do. I've learnt this trick with her. I make her sit. I cover her eyes. I throw it. And I show, and then literally for the next 15 minutes, she has to find it. And
that's great.
And she finds it and she brings it back, and then she's like insane. She goes crazy.
But you're activating her natural gun dog instincts by doing that. Because she's having to use her nose.
Her nose, exactly. And I always find it interesting to analyse the patterns that she takes to get to the ball.
Interesting.
The searching patterns, you know.
Yes.
Sometimes I really think she's actually quite a stupid gun dog sometimes, because I'm looking at her and I'm like, there's no triangular pattern, there's no circles, there's just kind of like random spaghetti throwing, but maybe I'm just too ignorant and I don't realise what she's actually doing, which is probably what the case. But I probably don't get the pattern.
It's a brilliant idea to blindfold your dog, so that because our dog, your Molly's half terrier, so she'd be okay. Matilda's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. When you throw something, she literally runs in the opposite direction. She's not that bright, but she is very humorous, as you can see. But to blindfold your dog to throw something, and then how do they find it? They're not through the scent of a ball.
Well, absolutely through the scent of a ball. Exactly that, of course. I mean, a dog's, we're going to find out a bit more later when we're talking about scents, because we've got a bomb dog handler coming in. Actually,
he was served in Afghanistan. He's coming on with his dog that was and he took
Dave Hayo.
Yes, and he took demotion, didn't he?
In order to work with dogs. But the thing is, you see, the dog's sense of smell is estimated to be about 1 million times more sensitive than ours.
A million?
Yeah.
I thought it was like a couple hundred times.
No, because just check this stat out. Okay, we have 5 million.
Anna knows everything.
5 million. We have 5 million scent receptors in our nose. Okay, a dog has 200.
Love Mika's face. He's taking this. You can write this down.
Dogs have 220 million scent receptors in their nose, but also they have a whole area.
Heroes.
I know.
That TV show.
And unlike us, they've got a whole area in their brain that's dedicated to absorbing smell and analysing it. We haven't even got that in our brain.
Do they have like memory of smell?
Yes, they do have scent memory as well. Exactly that. So they're totally manufactured in a completely different way to us, and their whole olfactory capacity is like a factory up there. And
unbelievable.
We have nothing like that. So when they go into a garden of roses, for example, I mean, we just smell lovely flowers, all roses, but they'll smell the white rose, the pink rose, the red rose. All those roses will have a different aroma. For the dog.
But also, there's a thing I could talk to you forever about this, but Anna is obsessed with the psychic phenomena with dogs. That there's a guy that comes on this show quite a lot called
I've
Professor
been reading
Rupert
about
Sheldrake.
this.
Dr. Rupert Sheldrake. Have you read his work?
No, maybe
my
without
hero.
knowing it, but I've become obsessed with psychic power. Like if you're getting ill,
exactly. This is
cancer and all that stuff. They say that dogs know if you got cancer way before you do.
And the word you said there is it. Know. How do they know? And more importantly, how do they know to tell you that you have cancer or that you might be having an impending epileptic seizure. You know, what is it? And that
Probably
is
smell
what.
again.
No, that's what that is the telepathic bond. That's the elastic band connection that you and
My dog
Melody
knows
have.
when I'm in a good mood and I'm pretending.
absolutely.
And she knows when I'm in a bad mood, pretending to be in a good mood.
Yeah.
And she will not engage with me. And when I'm being, I could do nothing. I can look at her with a flat face, and she can tell that I'm in a good mood, and she behaves differently. She has this way.
You see, and aren't you learning from her? See, this is what's
100%.
amazing.
I'm
You
changing
learn-
as a result
Exactly.
of this dog. It
And-
sounds insane, but I really am.
You actually do, because Anna knows so much more about this than I do, because she's read every book on this. But the whole thing about when a dog sees you, it doesn't see the physical it sees the aura. It sees everything that you represent: the goodness, the badness, the nastiness, the temper.
Right.
That's what they see.
Right.
And that's why some dogs will go to people and won't go to people, and you should trust their instincts, because
Absolutely.
they just see the aura around the person, and
Right.
the aura changes with all of us.
They
but
say that
can-
monkeys have the same thing.
Oh, do
well,
they?
there's these very famous. There's these two monkeys, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast, and they're famous because they do get most of the jobs for television and movies.
Right.
Now, apparently, they have a thing in a clause in their contract, and they say that if they have to act with an actor or an actress, there's no guarantee that their monkey will engage with that actor or actress. They have to go to a meeting.
Brilliant.
Engage with the monkey. The monkey decides if they want to
Yes.
act with them.
I think that's
and
super.
they either go all over them and the relationship and the bond is established, or the monkey rejects that actor. It could be Tom Cruise.
Mm.
It probably is Tom Cruise, and the monkey would run the other way. I mean, it's,
we must race on, because there's so many things we want to talk to you about. We were Brian Adams photographed our dogs last week.
Yeah, last week.
And you were saying that he's photographed Mal as well.
Well, that's
your
right.
dog.
He because most people, your listeners probably know because of your experiences with him, but he's a fantastic photographer, and he's done a lot for Vogue around the world. Vogue Italy uses him all the time. Like, he's got this whole other career now as a major fashion photographer. Anyway, I was doing this Vivienne Westwood comic relief campaign. And I remember I was there at the same time as Amy Winehouse and Tracy Emin, except I came with my dog, so I won. Because I didn't realise that Brian Adams adores dogs.
He really
and so
does.
he put the dog in the picture, and he dressed her in like jewellery and stuff, which is completely against everything, because I never dress dogs. I think
Really, that's interesting.
But he
I wouldn't
put,
have
like-
thought Brian would, because he's been a bit anti that, seeing my Molly in
Oh, really?
yeah,
Well, he
ballerina
put a big-
outfit.
Oh, no, well, there wasn't...
Well, that's understandable.
Maybe it's 'cause it doesn't
Anna,
suit
that's
Molly.
one step too far, really.
Do you know when I got my dog, going back to the Bond dog thing, I actually went to, because if I meet someone and I don't like their dog, I hate that person, because
Like Anna.
it makes me
just-
feel
just
kind of
Anna's
sick when I see someone and they don't know how to treat their dog, and the dog behaves badly and they
Yes.
blame the dog.
Yes.
It's kind of like kids.
Yes.
And I kind of look at dogs similar to kids, and I'm just like, you for nature versus nurture, yes, but nurture's got a lot to do with it.
Yeah. They
So I
say
went
it's
to this-
50-50,
Right,
you know. 'Cause
really?
because you get your genetic makeup, when you're born. And then, of course, a lot is down to, the clothes you wear, the people you hang with, the
Right.
school you go to,
Right,
what
exactly,
you study,
exactly.
all that type of stuff as well.
So I went to this woman who's a friend of ours, and her name is Liz Kennard, Buzz Kennard, and her and her husband Dave, they who was a former policeman, they train bomb dogs and drug dogs. So when they get a dog, they have to invest so much of their own life, because they're freelance. So they have to do this thing where they can't just waste a year and a half's worth of work on a dog and then have the dog rejected, because
Right.
that's their life, and they can't afford to have that many dogs at one time. So what they do is they go in and they test litters, and they go in and they have to be the first to test the litter, and they'll do these sight tests, nervousness tests. They'll lift up the dog and see how it reacts. If it freezes, they know that it's got an anxiety problem or a
Yes.
tendency towards one. So in my obsession, I went to them and I had to be interviewed by Buzz and by Dave, sitting around a cup of tea, where they were horrible to me, telling me all the reasons why I shouldn't have a dog. And I kept on saying, no, you don't understand. And they were like, we'll only do this if we can train you, because your dog will be the easy one to train. You'll be the difficult one. And so I did it, and I stuck through and dealt with their toughness. Now, I adore them, but they help me train Mel.
God, if only more people would do that
Yeah,
instead of.
yeah.
We were talking about. We write a blog in the Independent, and this week's blog, we were talking about the amount of people that photograph our dogs wherever. I don't know if this probably does happen to you more than us, but you know, the big issue seller in Marylebone always looks after our dogs when we're in the supermarket,
Right.
and when you come out, there's everyone photographing the dogs because people photograph dogs all the time. And this guy said, "Oh, what breed is that? Because I'd like one of those." And I said, "It's bulldog." And he went, "Oh, I'm going to send a picture to my girlfriend." And I was thinking, is that what determines you getting a dog? You've just seen-
Unfortunately,
Such a throwaway society.
it's a bit
though,
like the
you know,
donkeys at Christmas.
Yeah,
oh well,
really.
they look cute, and you
Yes.
realise that donkeys are a real pain in the ass, and I mean that.
Well, they're really stubborn, but you know,
and
they're-
man, but when they want to mate, the noises they make when they want to mate.
Really, maybe I'd have the same
God.
sex
Is it worse
or
than
something.
foxes?
I don't know.
Foxes are keeping a lot of people awake in Hackney.
Yes, and
Foxes
cats
are such a
noisy.
nuisance in the city.
Yeah, they
Oh,
are.
yeah.
It sounds like two children having a drunk pub brawl.
Yeah,
at
they
2
make
o'clock
some
in the morning. It's like,
extraordinary sounds.
They're taking over. There was one, I left here yesterday, there was one running straight outside the Langham Hotel with a Waitrose bag in its mouth, just crossing the lights. And we were like inches away from Oxford Circus.
Yeah.
They're moving in.
No, that's
We're
true.
running out of time. Mika, we must just ask, because you've got an
There's a
album
lot
out.
to talk about.
I know, but we must talk about your album. 'cause
Oh,
you've
there's
got an
the
album
album.
out next week.
That is true.
Which we have got.
We've got our own copies.
We've got our own copies.
We're so lucky.
Yeah, this isn't out yet, so it comes out. What day does it come out on when people get hold of it?
It comes out on the no, it comes out on the 8th of October. It's called The Origin of Love, and it's a pretty wacky album. I mean, it's got a lot of joy in it, and it's one of the best things I've ever done.
After midnight, when I play music, can I play a track from this?
I'd love you to.
Which track would you like me to play?
After midnight, why don't you play Stardust?
Stardust, track 3, Mel. That would be after midnight.
And actually, in my album thank yous, I thank my dog.
Do you?
I was going to say, how has she inspired you? You know, is she like your muse?
Not really. She's more like a nuisance than a muse when it comes to the studio. But you know, she does come to the studio and she sits under the desk and hangs out, and she's, you know.
Have you taken her to Paris yet? Have you gone through
No,
the
not
tunnel?
yet.
We went last summer.
I heard there's a service that you can.
Yeah, the
pay and they-
Eurotunnel is
the Euro-
superb.
exactly.
Because you stay with your dog.
You stay with your dog,
Yeah,
that's
it's the only way that you can travel abroad.
And in
to
Paris-
stay with
That's
your
right.
dog.
In Paris, they let the dogs go
Oh,
everywhere. They go
everywhere.
in the
It's
restaurants
amazing.
and the kitchens.
I go to restaurants in London because they allow me to. I go to a French restaurant called the Colombier. I go to this Italian place called Lucio's because they allow my dog. What is the big deal about allowing a dog in a restaurant? It's not as if the kitchen is where the dog
Exactly.
is hanging out.
That's
It's
the only-
just a wooden floor. Most of the
Exactly.
guests' coats
Exactly.
are more
Work-
dirty than my dog.
How much do we
Exactly.
love him?
What a
Anna?
joke.
How much
We
do we
love
love him?
him.
Well, you're barking up the wrong tree. Yes, you're barking up the wrong tree. That's what she said.
If I die on the way home tonight, I'm happy. After
you've gone
tonight,
to
I'm
heaven.
so happy.
Have you ever ordered tartar for your dog?
No, we got to do
I
that.
work because my dog eats raw food. So at this
Oh,
place,
good.
this French
He's
restaurant, I
on the
order her
raw
tartar.
diet.
Ours
But-
eat raw
Yeah.
green tripe.
But they forgot. They put all the ketchup and the Worcestershire sauce in it.
Oh, no.
So I had to deal with a hyperactive dog running up and down for like
But that was
35.
Mika, can we thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
in? Thank
Thank
you,
you for
Mel.
having
And
me.
you, honestly, you've made our year. Woof, woof. The album's
Woof,
out
woof.
next week. Woof, woof. We'll play a track after midnight, the 3rd track on this Stardust. Woof, woof. Thank
Woof,
you so
woof.
much. Anna and I are in love. We're trying to sort of get ourselves sorted out. We've got loads of texts coming in about Mika, and we will read them out. His beautiful dog.
Oh, beautiful. I wonder what you were going to say.
Did
there.
you look at the way she was watching him all the time? Even, you know, when she was sitting on his lap, she was just so
Oh,
beautifully
she's so
calm.
small as well for
Yeah.
a golden retriever.